Welcome to GFT, Galactic Figure Talk, a podcast about Star Wars and Star Wars action figure collecting.
Awesome, yeah!
The reason they're 3.75 inches tall is because the first mock-up figures that I made were Fisher-Price Adventure People.
I will freeze your body in carbonite forever, Han Solo! Not so fast!
We finally launched 6-inch when I felt the time was right. We needed a new spark.
We started selling all of the action figures through the fan club, and our most successful was the Cantina Band. That was enormously one of the best-selling items we've ever sold through the fan club.
Whoa! Darth Vader!
I used my nephew as a hand model on the Wampa box. He's the one with the little hand that's in there.
It's Kenner's new Star Wars action figures. Now, welcome your host, Chris B.
Welcome to another episode of GFT, Galactic Figure Talk. My name is Chris B. I'm your host, and on this episode, I want to talk about New York Comic Con 2024. So Hasbro held their panel yesterday at the Javits Center in New York City. It was not just a Star Wars panel, it was a panel that combined G.I. Joe, Transformers, Marvel Legends, Ghostbusters, of course, was also there, and also Star Wars, of course. And I'm here to talk about these Star Wars action figure reveals. And there was quite a bit shown for the Black Series line and for the Vintage Collection. Unfortunately, most of the stuff had already leaked previously. So I think out of the 7 Black Series figures that they showed, 6 have been on social media accounts over the past few weeks already. And for the Vintage Collection, it was a little different, but there was one figure which leaked previously. But there was a bit more excitement, I think, for TVC this time than for Black Series. So let's start off with the Black Series line first. And the first one that they showed was the Black Series Commander Cody, which is a Walmart exclusive. It, for the first time, has a removable helmet, and it features the new Clone Trooper body. It's a pretty cool looking Clone Trooper. And I think what makes this release special is the packaging, because they're throwing it on throwback packaging for 3.75 inch. And yeah, the packaging, this is exactly what we had for Revenge of the Sith. It has the round blister on the front. You know, I have to say that Commander Cody looks great in the packaging here. It really does look fantastic, but the Revenge of the Sith packaging is definitely not my favorite packaging at all. The figures don't stack well on top of each other because of the round blister, and the figures always had a tremendous amount of tape on the back to hold the bubble in place. And yeah, all right. And I have to say, Commander Cody is also a character which was not featured or not released in the original Revenge of the Sith packaging that they're commemorating here. So it is cool looking. It is a nice update to one of the most popular commanders or clone troopers. And I think this is going to do really well. Pre-orders went already live on Walmart.com, so you can head over there and place your pre-order. The figure is going to ship out in spring of next year. And then after that, it was all about the Skeleton Crew. And it was a bit of a surprise. I thought that they might have held back Skeleton Crew figures because of some special program that Disney might run later when the show is on TV. But apparently they came out and they announced 6 figures already from the Skeleton Crew. And the first one was Jotna Nawut. And that's Jude Law's character. Cool looking figure. Don't really know much about him just yet, but yeah, I mean, this is a cool looking preview figure. And then they also showed Neil, which is this, you know, Max Rebo type looking kid. They showed Wim, which I have to say is probably the most human looking character that we've ever had in any Star Wars storytelling. And then they showed Fern and KB, which are the two females that are part of the skeleton crew. And then they also showed Pirate Captain Brutus. Cool looking figures. Unfortunately, out of those 6 figures, 5 of them had already leaked, so the hype for Skeleton Crew, yeah, it certainly did not happen during this panel, specifically because I think if you're into collecting figures and you follow social media accounts, you've already seen those leaks. But good looking figures, so 7 Black Series figures in total that they showed. Let me run it down real quick again. For the 20th anniversary of next year for Revenge of the Sith, Commander Cody, and then 6 figures from the Skeleton Crew with John Narwood, Neil, Wim, Fern, KB, and Pirate Captain Brutus. Now, if you haven't seen what these figures look like yet, typically I would say go to galacticfigures.com and check them out, but you know, I'm sitting here Saturday afternoon and I'm still waiting for Hasbro's PR agency to actually send pricing information and press images through that I could so that I could report properly on all of this. But you know, they're not doing it, so I'm still waiting for actual images, release dates and all that stuff to come through. Now apparently for those Skeleton Crew Black Series figures, there's no pre-order date, but they are supposed to be on shelves when the show comes out. So those are still figures that you should be able to hunt for on store shelves around late November, early December. Alright, so that was it for the Black Series line. Let's talk about TVC. And for the Vintage Collection, they showed John Narwood from the Skeleton Crew, who is VC 310. Unfortunately, another figure which leaked the morning of the panel. So that took some wind from underneath the wings, unfortunately. They showed Dr. Evison from A New Hope, Cantina Alien. This is a straight repack. I think they did say that the portrait will be updated and it has a different card back. So if you're a carded collector, this is going to be interesting. They're not changing the VC number, so this stays VC 57. And then they also showed the Snow Trooper, and this is an entirely new sculpt, and I have to say, this looks glorious, really good looking. I'm typically not a fan of them remaking figures that we own 70 or 80 of. And like when I say 70 or 80, I mean that literally, right? I mean, if you've been buying one of each since 95, I know you probably have 20. But a lot of times, you know, you could find, at least back in the days, you could find good deals on Snow Troopers or other kind of figures as well. And so, you know, over the years, you kind of troop built those. And, you know, if you've been collecting for a while, you probably have 70 or 80 or even more in your collection. So when I hear that they're remaking a Snow Trooper, you know, I'm not a fan of those. But I have to say, I mean, looking at this figure definitely needed an upgrade. And it looks phenomenal. Really, really cool looking Snow Trooper figure. And he's going to be VC 349. Now, if you're a carded collector, I would still recommend the one that came out in the VOTC line in 2005, 2006-ish, I want to say, because the card back is just done way better and much more accurately aligned with what Kenner did back in the days. Smaller bubble, the right placement of the Kenner logo and all that stuff. So yeah, so check that out if you haven't seen that yet. And then the coolest announcement, I think, for the entire panel, for me personally, was Sabine and the Howler from the Ahsoka TV show, the creature that she befriends and then ends up riding. And really cool looking. It's fairly large. Sabine fits on it properly. So nicely detailed creature, and I'm just really happy that they're doing more creatures. I mean, the Blurk turned out really well, and now seeing the continuation with the creatures, with the Howler here, very, very cool. Now, I don't know exactly where and when those are going to be shipping. I assume it's spring or summer of 2025. My understanding is that pre-orders are going to go live on October 23rd at 1 o'clock East Coast time. So Wednesday, I think, of next week. At least that's my understanding. Like I mentioned, I'm still waiting for Hasbro to actually provide official information about those figures, including the images. And so, yeah, I don't know yet. All right, so that was it for TVC, though. So let me run it down real quick. John Narwood from the Skeleton Crew, Dr. Evison repack, a new Snow Trooper figure, and Sabine and the Howler creature. So 1, 2, 3, 4 vintage collection figures, and 1 creature. They said at the very end of the panel that the Ghost, the HasLab Ghost, is still going to ship this year, supposedly out in December. And that was it for New York Comic Con 2024. So, looking at the panel, I have to say, I mean, the stuff shown was good. I just feel like Hasbro just has no control over the leaks. Unfortunately, I know leaks have been part of the game going back to, I don't know, the mid-2000s or so. But the amount of leaks that we see nowadays just makes those panels seem so lackluster. If I had gone into this not knowing anything about those Skeleton Crew figures, yeah, I would have been probably hyped about that. You know, seeing new figures and new characters, that's exciting to me. But again, we've seen all of those previously. Same goes with Cody, that was also shown the morning off. And then for TVC, kind of a mixed bag for me personally. I mean, Jot Not Nowwood, another figure that leaked the morning off the panel, like I mentioned earlier. Dr. Everson, I already have 2 of him in my collection. The one with the painted scar, and then the variation where the scar is unpainted. So I don't need this guy. The Snowtrooper, like I mentioned, you know, many of us have a lot of those already in our collection. So, all right, but it does look good. So, all right. And then Sabine and the Howler creature, that's definitely the star for me because it feels fresh. It feels new. And that's what I'm most excited about. All right, so this is where I'm going to wrap up this episode of GFT about New York Comic Con for 2024. The next Star Wars action figure reveals are going to happen at MCM London Comic Con, which is 25th and 27th in October, so at the end of this month. And then there's also Hasbro's 1027 event that they hold for premium Hasbro Pulse members typically. In the past at those events, I think they showed around 3 or 4 Black Series figures. So I wouldn't expect too much. I think also they've revealed archive figures during that event previously. There might be some repacks in our future again. So yeah, I don't know exactly what to expect at those events, but hopefully they have some new stuff to show us. All right, so that's it for GFT. As always, stay tuned to galacticfigures.com for updates and Star Wars action figure coverage. And like I said, sorry I can't provide you guys with actual images of what was shown because I'm still waiting for Hasbro to really get their act together and send the official press material through so I can actually report on what was shown, how much things are going to cost, and when things are going to be out, and where things are going to be available. So anyways, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's a wrap for this episode, but the next one is just around the corner, so make sure to subscribe. Meanwhile, have fun browsing over 4,000 Star Wars figures on galacticfigures.com, the Star Wars action figure database. The website helps you look up and identify Star Wars figures. Leave your own figure reviews in the comments or check out photo galleries, figure info, news, press releases, or event coverage from New York Toy Fair and Star Wars celebrations. Thanks for listening. Check the links in the description and remember to subscribe.